I know I want a role-playing game. I know the elements that I want to have in that game. I know from my success that I can be confident that I know how to do things that I already know how to do. And that gives me the courage to try things we haven't tried to do before, to do something new, to try a new IP, and then to try to find something that isn't served in the marketplace, and that's that combat, and not just a grind to combat, but it's that delicious sense of using the controller and having fun, being immersed in an RPG. To a certain degree, I I wanted to start fresh in some ways. That is, I wanted to do something that I hadn't done before because it'd be boring to make another game like that. But I also wanted them to be as much fun as the games that I'd made. So essentially, I had to not betray anyone who wanted to play Reckoning because they loved Morrowind and Oblivion. So that's the first step. No betrayals. And then the next thing is I want to give them candy that they like and cannot stop eating. And the candy that they like and can't stop eating is going to be combat that has more fun per unit time than other role-playing games. And it's just from that perception that for all these years I've been playing games. I'm kind of grinding in a meaningful way. But then I watch other kinds of games on screen, and they're kind of fast, and the animations are better, and all kinds of stuff's going on. And it turned out that they were related. If you built a good combat system that was kind of based on fight games, kind of based on action games, that it had to do with animation, the theater of combat would be better looking, but you'd also get better looking characters moving through the world. You just were changing the currency of what is good to look at on the screen. So I want you to be gobsmacked with a graphic design, and we'll go too far. Like we'll have the world will be too big, but in this particular case, it'll be colorful, and we'll burn a lot of art assets to make every place new and different. Those are the things I think I learned. It's very hard to make a game like that. Very expensive. It's very hard to schedule millions of people to make all those tiny dots of crap, but it's even better if you can make them all distinctive and vivid. One sadness about Morrowind is, maybe it wasn't as colorful of experiences as it might have been. You will not have that problem with Reckoning. I want a traditional RPG because it's all I know how to do. I wouldn't be good at anything else. I don't believe in it, and I don't think the audience believes in it. But I mean, they love this genre and they know why. But at the same time, there are a lot of the chains of conventions in role-playing games that I don't think actually they're thinking about that stuff. Like, just simply, I don't want to have to go into my inventory every time when I pick something up, I want to equip it right away. So what happens when you pick up an object, you can equip it before you even go down a couple button presses into the inventory. That kind of streamlining of the interface and the user experience. One of the great things about Big Huge is they've always been about, testing and learning how to get the user interface designed for an RPG with all the different systems and things like that. That's a great way to do your streamlining. But also, the combat, I'm not even talking about streamlining, I'm talking about the personal experience feels like there's more happening per unit time. So it may not actually be faster, it may not be streamlined. You think you're having more fun per unit time. I want the experience to be streamlined, but I don't want you to get robbed of all that stupid Puritan organizing your inventory by color and size and managing your resources, because that's fun. It is. It's just I want you to choose between two kinds of fun and to bounce back and forth and say, I'm having so much fun, my traditional. Oh no, I was having so much fun pushing these buttons. Oh, I want to. And I want you to explore both until you're sick and tired of them. I won't say that Fable is an inspiration, although I was very conscious from the very beginning that Fable had both a light tone, which I enjoyed, I admit it's risky in the world of RPGs because heroes want to take themselves seriously. And then there was also this vivid, eye-popping color. I love that stuff. And what I want to do is to nuance that. I want the world to be vivid, but I also want you to be able to take it seriously. And one of the ways it works is partly, it's R.A. Salvatore. One thing he said, the great thing of working with these guys is every once in a while they'll say something that is so brilliant, that is so often thought but never so well expressed, is he says, you want to think that world that you're saving is worth something. So that when you enter into the world the first time, when you come out of character creation, it's a beautiful world. It's like a green and pleasant land that you want to save from World War II. And then as you progress, the richness of the color, those richnesses are more menacing. And as you go underground, yeah, and it isn't just color, it's lighting. Oh my God, our engine does lighting. Lighting is, you know, you take a look at a good film, it's all about great lighting. And an engine that can give you lots of lights that move and make the world delicious, that's hard work. And we have geniuses, thank God. Salvatore makes my job easier because I get a world to work out of, 10,000 years of history that doesn't suck. And not only does it not suck, he happens, because we share the same background in Dungeons and Dragons world building, we know what's important. You have to have that surface familiarity of the genre, but underneath it you have to feel that there are cross currents. There are things that are hidden, franchise mysteries that you're constantly frustrated in a good way. You say, those guys are never going to tell me what's really going on. So you go online and you chat with people and make up theories and things like that. That's delicious about what RA does. What Todd does is, since he's not a gamer, he just says, don't do that. That's stupid. Why do you have such bad animations? Don't do it. And we didn't know they were bad. We were having fun. You know, that's okay. But he says, no. Look at this. And I say, yeah, I see what you mean. It's better to just do that. And then also going to 11, turning the amp up to 11. He wants visceral. He wants to go too far. And I guess maybe I have that Puritan role player's hard work is the way you succeed. You grind, you manage your resources. He says, no, you got to have a cool thing happen. Can't argue with that. You take a look at the demo, those cool things, you just do those little silly giggles. When somebody films people doing this test thing, it's great watching their faces. They go, that's what I want. I want little silly giggles when a guy uses a dagger. And they say, oh, that's the coolest dagger I've ever seen in my life. Oh, that's cool. That's what I want. We make it possible for you to go someplace and get into trouble and get yourself killed, and to leave and say, oh, I think I'm going to do some development now because I happen to think those are the great moments of RPGs, and I think that was something we lost with that rubber banding, you know, in Oblivion. And we just, you know, we know how to do it right. What we're doing is a new way of allowing you to explore the archetypes but not have to nail yourself into an archetype when you create your character. You can evolve it as you go, and essentially it adapts to the choices you make as you play through the advanced. I've always had the fantasy that you would have a world with a lot of world state changes, but that turns out to be hideously difficult. And your impression that the world changes is a narrative trick that we play on you, because we can't afford to actually change the world, and I think you'll find that in all RPGs. But what you have to, we'll do those things that make you feel like it's different. People will talk to you about changes in the game. It's just cheap tricks because dialogue is cheaper than actually burning a town down or something like that. But yeah, that's my fantasy. I wish we could do more of that. Maybe in the third or fourth game in the series. You know, we'll see.
So you're confirming that it's a 3 or 4 game series?
Oh, are you kidding? No, this goes, no point in doing an RPG unless you're going to make 1 billion of them. Unless your kids can play, you know. Your unborn children can enjoy the genre, yeah.
And we can expect a really deep loot system as well. I think the word.
Oh, no, no, deeper than I've ever, and yeah, we've got deeply troubled system designers who are going, the Diablo route with that. And it's, yeah, again, it's more fun when you have a really well-designed loot system.
So we can expect plenty of character customization and stuff like that.
It's not a good role-playing game, but it doesn't have a way for you to express yourself with your kit and find cool things. You gotta, when you kill something, something cool's got to come out of it. I honestly can't say that we've been inspired by other RPGs. We don't want to suck, therefore we can't be anything less than as good as they are. But we really needed to have a very simple focus for what we're doing, and that's the only way you can be successful with a project this big. Everyone all has to see the same thing, and this master-crafted world, everything has, maybe I guess the thing that we've taken from these other things is they have to be master-crafted. You can't be unpolished. Everything has to be really, really slick. And by the way, that hasn't always been the case in RPGs. But the thing that's important for us is to give you a combat experience that is memorable and different. So you say, I want all the other RPG companies to say, I wish we had some of that. Let's steal some of that right now for our games.